Hey everybody, this is Ori from MasterWeb, and in today's video I'm going to showcase the Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress. It's one of the most popular plugins for WordPress to help you enhance your SEO for your on-site to make sure your posts and pages all have the best SEO optimization for what you're trying to target. So first of all, this video is skipping the first part, which is the keyword research, all the SEO part. Of you understanding what you want to target, doing competitor research, figuring out the terms, the search volume, the difficulty, all that stuff. So once you figure that stuff out and you know, what you're going to promote, now you need a tool to be able to input all this information into your WordPress site. So this video is going to showcase to you a little bit about the extension, what you can do, what's available, and the most important thing is once you guys view it, if you have any questions about setup, about best SEO practices, provide some detail in the comments, and I'll be able to provide some consultation, explanations, try to help you guys use this tool to set up the best you can to have the best chances for you to compete on the organic search results for SEO. Okay, so first of all, this is just a yoast.com. I have a demo site which I've been making multiple videos on WordPress, just a demo site that I set up. And I have my backend. So what I'm going to do first of all is obviously you need to make sure that you install the plugin. So you can go to plugins, add new, and you're just going to type in Yoast. And once you do that, you're going to install it. Now, I already have it installed. So you have it here. You see 5 million downloads, Yoast SEO, great reviews. Obviously, I use it for many projects, but you can do other ones. For example, I've used All-in-One SEO before for multiple years actually prior. Do your research, obviously. I'm trying to showcase to you the one I use most of the time called Yoast SEO. Okay. Once you install it, you're going to have a new section on the bottom left right here. Okay, and SEO. So what is going to be here? These are going to be the main settings. So what you're going to do is the first time you install it, you're going to have a configuration wizard, which basically will guide you through a few steps of the most important things. So first of all, do you want your website to be indexed by search engines? Obviously, you do want to do that, but if you're just in development and you haven't launched a website, I recommend to do the second one, which is don't index it yet. Let's finish all the content and then turn it on. You can always, outside the wizard, change all of these settings, okay? So I go next, and it's explaining, okay, what type of a website do you have? Do I have a blog? Do I have a shop, etc.? I'm going to tag that, for example, a blog. And this is going to be information about your structured data. So what is structured data? The Yoast SEO plugin provides some extra code in the HTML that provides more information to the search engines. For example, for Google, it explains, okay, this website is made by, for example, this company. I just made up, a name. This is the company. These are the social media links. And what it does is it adds special code called JSON LD. It's basically some very basic JSON code that tells the search engines what the page is about. And what does structured data do? It helps, number one, the search engines understand what your page is about and more information. And number two, you have a chance to enhance your listings. For example, here, when someone Googles my name, for example, I can provide more information. I can show the social profiles related to myself. Not just basic information. For example, the title, right? The title and the URL and the description, something like this. You can enhance it. So if you provide structured data, you have better chance for ranking, and you have a better chance to show more off on the search result pages to get more clicks. Okay. So for example, Yoast SEO has a few things for structured data. Okay, it has breadcrumbs, which can enhance the listing by adding breadcrumbs right here to your listing page. It has, let's see here. Okay, it has the logo, right? It has the information, it has the social media you can have here. And if you have things like WooCommerce, which you're trying to sell products, you can also enhance it with a ratings and pricing and votes, right? So you can add a little bit more information here. So for example, price of the product. Okay. So let's go here and let's set it up. So for example, I have an organization, I have my logo, my social media accounts, and I already have some stuff set up because obviously I prepared for this video. And here you're going to specify what part of the website do you want the search engines to read? What do you want them to not allow? And what do you want to read? So the most important ones are the posts and the pages in WordPress. So in most cases, you want it to be yes, But anything you have related to your theme that's extra or anything custom, you can specify other things if you want them to be indexable, read by the search engines and actually indexed. Okay. So what else do we have? If you have multiple authors for your blog post, you can have that, right? So it'll show multiple authors. And then you can set up your defaults. So this is really important. When you create a new page, you'll be able to set up defaults that help you speed up your process and follow a certain structure or a certain template. So for example, maybe I'm on my home page right here. My title tag should say the name of the page, for example, home, and then dash, and then the company name or the blog name, right? So here I would have the page name, then dash, right? And then the website name, for example. If I change this, it would change it to all pages. A lot of times, websites like to add whatever the page name is and then the company name or the blog name. So this is a way for you to kind of modify things, okay? And then this is to allow Yoast to track things. I don't want to give them access right now. And that's it. And then it'll have some additional information. They have upgrade, they have premium, etc. So this, let me close the wizard. Now, everything we just did, you can actually change them here. So if I want to go here to general, let's go here, search appearance, you'll be able to see the things that I just specified, right? The structured data, the title separator, all of these things, right? You'll see here content types. Do I want to index? Yes or no? So regarding the template, if you remember just talking about it. So for posts, and I can do the same for pages and other things, right? So pages and posts, right? Usually these are blog posts and these are actual content pages on the site like About Us and Homepage. And these are usually blog posts, but you can use WordPress in many ways. So do I want the post to be indexed? Yes, no. Okay, do I want to show SEO settings? We'll show this, the enhancements to the page itself, okay? And I can specify default titles. Now I can change it on a per article, per post, or per page basis, but I can have a starting point. So for example, I can insert a variable which says, okay, I want you to put the category in it. Okay, so and you can freehand, you can type in specific things if you want. Okay, and you can put these. So for example, I want to have only page and title, and I'm going to save it. Okay, and this is for post. Okay, media, these are some settings that help you understand if you want to have the media, the images on your post, you want them to be indexed either to the attachment or the actual image itself. So I recommend to keep this on yes. Okay, and these are other things. Do you want to show the search engines, you want them to index your categories, your posts, your tags, excuse me, etc. These kind of things, right? Okay, archives, do you want to enable archives? Breadcrumbs, do you want to specify something specific about breadcrumbs? For example, let's see right here. Here, my breadcrumbs, I have slashes, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I want to change that, I can actually change the separators, right? I can change the anchor text to homepage. So for example, instead of saying home, it would say something else, okay? And do I want to show the blog pages or not? So these are all information that I can do settings. And then RSS is very specific to RSS feeds. I don't use it too much, so I'm going to skip this, okay? So other than that, I have some social. These are the things that we specified here about social. We have things like OG tags, which are specific. These tags, most of the information for Yoast SEO is for Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. They do have some features, for example, Open Graph for Facebook. So there's a few additional things that will help more for Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest. So there's a few extras here. So for example, OG tags are similar to meta tags. For Google, Yahoo, etc., and they help Facebook understand what the page is about. So, for example, when someone shares on Facebook, it can automatically grab this logo or this image and specify more information. So, Facebook has a more accurate understanding of what that page is about, and of course, you can share it nicer. Okay. So now that we have everything set up, one more thing about tools. You can also optimize the SEO data, which I recommend to do. What this means is because Yoast is a plugin on top of WordPress, the amount of information that is created when you load a page is a little bit more. There's more SEO data. So in order to speed that up, you're going to have a button here which you want to click, and you'll wait about a minute, and it'll optimize the data. So when the page loads, it won't be slower than it was before, or it would be at least not noticeable, because there's more information that Yoast is bringing from its own database. So it's a way to optimize the speed. So you want to do this. Second thing is you can also import and export. So every setting we just made, all of these settings, you can export that, save it for your backup in case you need it, copy this whole thing. And every single setting we did, for example, set up the breadcrumb data or, the pages, you can have this. And later on, if you want to import it or you have another blog, you can just, paste it and then import it. Okay. Okay. So now is the most important thing. Once we've set it up, we set it up one time. We don't need to touch it anymore. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our posts and our pages, and we're going to write some content. So I want to show you what you have both on posts and on pages. Okay, so here's a list of all my posts. And if you notice, there's some additional information right here. Okay, so what is this? First of all, this is an SEO score. So the Yoast extension is trying to take some basic best practices like the length of the title tag, the meta description. Did you fill out all the information? Did you tag things? And they're trying to give you a score. Obviously, green is better than red, right? And then there's things that there's no score. So this is one way for you to easily browse through. And you can filter, of course. You can filter these and basically improve your pages step by step by step. Okay, this one, and these things are one of my favorite things, which are inbound and outbound links. So for SEO, aside from the content, the words, the meta tags, the amount of links, the amount of other pages, both from your website and external websites, pointing to your pages help with ranking. It's a huge, important factor that it's just huge. You need to consider it. So this one is basically specifying how many links do you have from this article going out to other content. And this one is how many other pages are linking from outside going inside to point to you. So in general, the more pages that point to this page, the higher likelihood you are to rank for this page. Now, obviously, ranking depends on keywords, not just page, and it's very important keywords, but this is one of the parts. So you have some metrics that can help you here. So let's go here to a page. And now that I edit the page, obviously this is my basic editing, like the title and the content. This is just normal, right? Now, in addition to all of the other sections, you have here a new section called Yoast SEO. And this is where you're going to focus on the most important thing. So first of all, you can specify the keyword you want to. And you can also integrate, if you have an account with SEMrush, you can also integrate and get some more information about insights. Okay, and these are separate. Okay, so what can you do here? So first of all, you can see the title tag, the URL, and the description. And if you remember, we already set this template title page. Now I can start typing more things. And if you notice here, there's a bar that recommends to not exceed certain lengths. You see that? Sometimes you don't want to have too long of your title tags and meta descriptions. So it's trying to recommend to you what's the sweet spot. Now, these are just best practices based on past data. You always want to make sure you describe the page in the best way. So for example, title would be the title of the page. And then page, page would be the page itself. So, and then you can insert obviously things like, let's see here. Okay, primary category. Okay. So what do we have here? So other than that, you have the URL and then you have the meta description. So, describe this page in one sentence or two maximum. And you also have a length here, right? Typically about one sentence is okay for this. Okay. Now, what do you have here? You have an SEO analysis. So you're going to have some recommendations. This is really nice. That says, oh, this page doesn't have inbound links, outbound, inbound. You need to include, more information. Your title tag is too short. So these things are really nice to give you some recommendations in case you're not sure what you're doing. Okay. Now, in addition, when you create these, okay, so for example, you'll be able to see a preview, how it's going to look on mobile and on desktop. Okay. These are the basics. You can get an idea when someone searches for your page, what you're trying to rank for, how it's going to look to them. You need to make it more sexy. You need to make it more attractive so people want to read it and click and go to your website, right? So there's an art about writing title tags, meta descriptions, and obviously rich, structured data and things like that can really enhance this listing, the colors, the spacing, the extra data. Okay. That's it. Those are really the biggest things right here. So if you have, I'm not going to cover this in this video, but SEO Yoast Premium, I'm going to do a different video about it. Honestly, I don't use it too much, but we'll be practicing it and make it for the future. So you have some additional information. Okay. Other than that, do you want to exclude this page from being indexed or other advanced things? For example, the breadcrumbs title, you can override these. Canonical URL, what it does is it avoids duplicate content. So if you have two pages that are basically the same, you can specify the URL of this page to actually not have duplicate content, to link to the other page. Okay. So this information right here, obviously you would update it. And the same thing goes for pages, right? So posts and pages are very similar. You have the same information. And if I go ahead and I edit my page right here, I'll have the same thing, okay? I'll have the same thing here. Now, one thing I forgot to mention on the post, and it applies to the pages, is this is the most important one, the SEO. But you'll also have the readability, which are basically, a summary, and you have the schema, right? Which is basically the structured data. Schema and structured data is the same thing, okay? These are schemas, kind of like an older way to say it, what we used to call it, but it's basically the structure of the pages, okay? And then you have the social itself. You can specify the specific Facebook page image for this, if someone wants to share this page, and obviously the title and the description, okay? The same thing with Twitter, etc. Okay, so that's really it. Those are the most important things right here. That's basically it. What you want to do, you want to make sure, I'm going to summarize a little bit. You want to make sure that you set up the Yoast SEO settings correctly. You have good defaults. You did your keyword research, and every single page you want to edit. Every page, every post, one by one, you want to have unique content specifying what the page is about, including the keywords that you want to try to rank for, not overusing it, overdoing it, looking at the scores, increasing to your most important pages internal links, making sure you link outwards when relevant, having good content, and making your web page friendly for users, for readers, for your customers, and then secondary, you make it usable for the search engines. So last thing I want to specify about this is this YouTube channel is here to help everybody learn, improve their skills for web, for e-commerce, for Magento, Shopify, Google Analytics, WordPress, security, all of these things that are web. The most important thing I want to try to do is to actually make this valuable for you guys. So if you have any questions about how do I do this, how do I do my keyword research, what should I put in my title tags, in my posts, in my SEO settings, specify in this comment in this YouTube channel, in any video, and we'll respond, especially for this topic. Obviously, we're talking about this topic today, SEO. We have a lot of knowledge we can share. We can help you guys. Comment, ask questions, share with others, and let's make this channel much, much better. Please subscribe and ask questions as much as possible. And we're here to help and share our knowledge. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.